Today, we're exploring the intriguing side of automotive history. Some vehicles were ahead of their time in ways that didn't quite work, while others aimed to revolutionize the industry but became lessons in what not to do. Join us as we uncover these fascinating stories of innovation and missteps. Number 1. Zagato Zele. Zagato, known for sleek Italian designs, took a detour into electric vehicles with the Zele. Released during the 1973 oil crisis, it aimed to be an eco-friendly alternative, but failed in nearly every way. This tiny, boxy city car was made of plastic-reinforced fiberglass, giving it a toy-like appearance. Available with electric motors ranging from 4 to 8 horsepower, it had all the performance of a golf cart. With a top speed of just 25 miles per hour and a 50-mile range, it was impractical beyond short errands. Charging was slow, and its primitive battery technology degraded quickly. The driving experience was far from enjoyable. Acceleration was sluggish, braking was weak, and handling was vague at best. The plastic panels rattled, and the car lacked any sense of refinement or appeal. While electric cars are popular today, the Zele was too crude, too slow, and too underdeveloped to succeed, making it a largely forgotten failure in EV history. Number 2. Ferrari 308 GT4. Ferrari is synonymous with speed and luxury, but the 308 GT4 remains one of its most controversial models. Introduced in 1973, it was Ferrari's first car designed by Bertone, rather than Pininfarina, shocking enthusiasts. Its wedge-shaped angular body was a stark departure from Ferrari's signature curves, and many found it unattractive. Powered by Ferrari's first mid-engine V8, the 3.0-liter engine produced around 250 horsepower. Despite a 0 to 60 mile-per-hour time of 6.4 seconds, its stretched 2+2 seating layout threw off its proportions. Many considered it visually unbalanced, and early models suffered from electrical issues and finicky carburetors. The interior was cramped, with awkward ergonomics, making it less enjoyable than its contemporaries. Though mechanically capable, the 308 GT4's polarizing design, reliability problems, and lack of Ferrari's usual elegance made it one of the brand's least desirable models. While later years saw appreciation for its handling, its reputation as an early disappointment lingers. Number 3. Mini Moke. Originally developed as a military vehicle, the Mini Moke was intended to be Britain's answer to the Jeep. However, with low ground clearance and no four-wheel drive, it failed in combat and was repurposed as a beach vehicle. While fun for short trips, the Moke was fundamentally flawed. It had no doors, no weather protection, and minimal crash safety, making it impractical for everyday driving. The underpowered engine borrowed from the Mini struggled with just 40 horsepower. Highway driving was nearly impossible due to poor aerodynamics and lightweight construction. Its basic suspension made for a harsh ride, and exposed wiring left it vulnerable to weather damage. Despite a cult following in coastal regions, the Moke was never more than a novelty. Modern replicas exist, but they remain more of a fun gimmick than a serious transport option. It's a vehicle you'd love on vacation but regret owning full-time. Number 4. Volkswagen Type 181. Volkswagen's Type 181, known as the Thing, looked like a shoebox on wheels. Originally designed for military use, it was based on the World War II-era Kübelwagen. Somehow VW thought it would appeal to civilians. Powered by an air-cooled 1.5-liter or 1.6-liter engine, the Thing had just 46 horsepower. It struggled to reach highway speeds, and its loud, rattling ride made for an uncomfortable experience. Its brick-like aerodynamics caused wind resistance issues, and the high center of gravity made it feel unstable, especially in crosswinds. Inside, exposed metal panels and hard plastic seats made for a noisy, cold, and uncomfortable ride. The removable doors and fold-down windshield were quirky but impractical. Though it had a rugged simplicity that appealed to a niche audience, the Thing never gained mainstream success. Its awkward design, slow performance, and poor comfort ensured its place as one of Volkswagen's strangest missteps. Number 5. Halflinger, 1959. The Austrian Halflinger was designed as a lightweight off-road vehicle, but on paved roads, it was an absolute disaster. Intended for military and agricultural use, it was incredibly capable off-road but hopelessly impractical for civilian driving. With an air-cooled two-cylinder engine producing just 30 horsepower, the Halflinger topped out at 47 miles per hour. Its lightweight aluminum body, narrow stance, and tiny wheels made it feel vulnerable in traffic. The lack of power steering made it difficult to maneuver, and its open cabin offered no protection from the elements. The Halflinger's minimalist design meant it lacked almost all creature comforts. There was no real insulation, making winter driving miserable. The exposed drivetrain and basic suspension meant that passengers felt every bump on the road. Number 6. Citroën Ami 6. The Citroën Ami 6 was one of the most bizarre-looking cars ever produced. Its most controversial feature was the awkwardly slanted rear window, which gave it an unbalanced and confused appearance. Citroën intended it to be a practical alternative to the 2CV, but instead, they created a car that looked more like an unfinished prototype. The tiny 602 cubic centimeter engine struggled to provide enough power, making even basic acceleration feel like an event. The soft suspension gave it an oddly floaty ride, but once it hit a bump, the illusion of comfort disappeared. Rust was a constant problem, and its awkward proportions never quite worked from any angle. Despite its oddball design, the Ami 6 managed to sell well, proving that practicality sometimes outweighs aesthetics, even when the aesthetics are this strange. Number 7. Matra Rancho. The Matra Rancho was one of the most misleading vehicles ever built. It looked like a rugged off-roader, but in reality, it was nothing more than a front-wheel drive van dressed up as an SUV. Built by Matra and sold under the Simca brand, it shared its underpinnings with a Simca commercial vehicle, meaning it had no real off-road ability. The weak engine made highway driving a struggle, and rust issues plagued the body. The cheap build quality meant that many Ranchos didn't last long, and its rough, uncomfortable ride only added to the disappointment. While it was one of the first vehicles to embrace the idea of a lifestyle SUV, it arrived too early, at a time when people still expected their rugged-looking vehicles to actually handle rough terrain. Instead of a capable adventure vehicle, buyers got a slow, impractical, and flimsy imitation, and that's a wrap. Some cars push boundaries while others miss the mark entirely. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.